This is your Chargers linebacker, Daiyan Henley, and you're tuning in with Chargers Unleashed.
Well, welcome to Chargers Unleashed, and an emergency episode that we had to put out here. Not minutes after our episode 1 for the week goes out, do we hear the news that Joe Hortiz is set to become the Chargers' new general manager for the Los Angeles Chargers, Jim Harbaugh, and this franchise. And boy, is this a huge, huge hire for the Los Angeles Chargers. Figured we had to go on here, talk about it for a brief minute. We just talked about Joe Hortiz being the next general manager candidate to be hired by the Chargers, ? Now it's a period. And you think about what this Chargers staff looks like, and the imprint and the fingerprints that are all over the staff, starting with, obviously, Jim Harbaugh. Then you go to Jesse Minter and the style of play that his defenders use throughout their entire time with Michigan. He's spent time in Baltimore. He knows John Harbaugh. Then you look at Joe Hortiz and you look at the connection, not only that he has with the Harbaugh family and Minter, but also his mentorship that he's had within that Baltimore organization for, 2 decades. You look at the draft success and the personnel success and prowess that Joe Hortiz has had over the past 2 decades. You look at the Super Bowl ring on his finger that this man has. You look at the experience that he brings, the relationships that he has, the success that he has shown in that Ravens organization, both in the draft and scouting, as well as acquiring personnel. He was the one, according to John Harbaugh, that was the biggest advocate to bring in Roquan Smith to the Baltimore Ravens. And now Jim Harbaugh has his right-hand man staying in the family with Joe Hortiz coming into the Los Angeles Chargers organization as the next general manager for the Los Angeles Chargers. Let's talk about it. Joe Hortiz was brought in. Incredible. He and Brandon Brown were both a finalist for this job. And not too long ago, we did an episode talking about the possibilities of a one Joe Hortiz and the experience that he brings. From 2006 to 2008, was a national scout for the Ravens. Then for almost a decade, he was a director of college scouting for the Ravens. And then for the last 5 years, he has been the director of player personnel for the Baltimore Ravens. And Jake and I talked about it at length about how important it was for the Chargers to bring in someone with prowess from a successful organization, to bring in someone that has a proven track record of success, of bringing in players and developing players, and having folks like a one Joe Hortiz to come alongside of Jim Harbaugh and company right here. We have Jake Hefner's reaction to the news that Adam Schefter broke. Again, John Harbaugh to Jim Harbaugh. Chargers are working to hire Ravens director of player personnel as their general manager. Hortiz is likely to team with Jim Harbaugh to give the Chargers a new coveted GM head coaching duo. Boy, is this a day for the Chargers and this coaching staff and the front office. And you pair the possibilities of a Joe Hortiz with maybe JoJo Wooden stays on as assistant GM. And you look at Ed McGuire and what he's been able to do with salary cap and roster construction and personnel and contract negotiations and figuring out ways to get things moving. That's a great tandem to have in-house. And I'm looking to see kind of some of the reactions here. Mark Zeno, this is a huge win for the Chargers. Hortiz has been the Ravens forever, helping to build a perennial contender and Super Bowl champion in 2012. He is absolutely one of the best personnel in the business. Chargers fans, what do you guys think? Are you happy about Joe Hortiz as the general manager for the Los Angeles Chargers? I'll tell you this. The thing that's important about these hires is it's not just about the resume. And Jake and I talked about there are some guys who may have a better resume in terms of experience at the general manager position. You know, someone like an Ian Cunningham or Mike Borgonzi with the Chiefs. or Adam Peters, who was taken by the Commanders. There are some who have the resume that might look better than Joe Hortiz. I'd argue probably not from a pure player personnel and draft and development and understanding of the college landscape. I don't think that's possible. But there's resume and there's relationships and fit. And from a relationships and fit perspective, Joe Hortiz wins by far. And you look at the synergy of Joe Hortiz and Jesse Minter, the defensive coordinator from Michigan, who has come from the Ravens and has had experienced multiple position groups being a coach for them. And then you add Ben Herbert, the strength and conditioning coach, and what he's brought to Michigan. Again, Michigan's defense was ranked number 1 by PFF grades in 2023, number 2 by PFF grades in 2022, and number 5 in PFF grade in 2021. And this past year, they were top 3 in pass rush, in pressure, in tackling, in total defense, in coverage, you name it. That defense was solid. And now you bring in what the Ravens defense looks like in the NFL. And again, Ravens defense, Jesse Minter, Michigan, Jim Harbaugh. All of those things have the same archetype, the same feel, the same vibe, the same tenacity and physicality. Joe Hortiz is a massive win for the Chargers, the front office, the staff, the fans. And the fun part about this is you see this staff developing and how each piece just seamlessly interlocks with the other. Is probably something that I didn't consider moving forward. But now, watching this staff come together, and shout out to Dean Spanos for giving the keys to Jim Harbaugh, and shout out to Jim Harbaugh for taking a deep look into who he wants, why he wants them, and how he's going to get them. And so far, the Chargers are assembling quite the all-star talent in their front office and coaching staff. So Chargers fans have reason to celebrate, have reason to be excited. Joe Hortiz brings so much prowess from a draft and scouting perspective that I think Chargers fans are so desperate to see hit when it comes to from draft day to Sundays and Mondays and Thursdays and primetime games. All cut from the same cloth. The Chargers fans' day and week and month and year 2024 just keeps getting better. We'll get you covered as we continue on, but want to make sure that we had the latest on the Joe Hortiz hiring by the Los Angeles Chargers. We'll see when it becomes official, but according to Schefter and everyone who matters who breaks these types of news, that's what's coming down the pike, and that's what's got us and everyone in Chargers land excited. Fast forward to Thursday. Jim Harbaugh, Joe Hortiz at SoFi. Introductory press conference. Gonna be popcorn. Get it ready. So until the next one, this is Dan Wolkenstein from Chargers Unleashed. You can find me at DanW Sports on X. Again, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Let us know in the comments. What do you think? Are you excited? What do you want him to do first? What are some of the challenges, or what are some of the things that you're most excited about with this Chargers front office and the hiring of Joe Hortiz, Director of Player Personnel from the Baltimore Ravens, is going to be your new Los Angeles Chargers General Manager. Get hyped, get pumped, and we'll talk to you next time on Chargers Unleashed.